YouTube video out now, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Block in the hood. Smell? Set and ready. Got both of them set up on the engine rack. Ready to install. Stage 2. My brother. Stage 2 in effect over here. And we got my stage 3 in effect. My brother. Stage 2. Decided I'm just gonna go and do the stage 2 for now. I got my stage 3 right now. Set and ready. And stage 1. Set and prep. Outside, my brother getting that shit done right now as we speak. Let's go. All 3 of the beats shining, looking good. S5 looking good. Got the Jetta looking good. Got the TT roaster looking good. Getting ready. Yes, sir. Back to business.
Doing something tedious now.
Uh-huh. business. Got it looking good.
Yeah,
Got it looking good.
AC compressor. Looking up a lot of these other lines that's going to be behind here. That's difficult to get to. Actually bought a new expansion tank also.
Okay, cool.
Because I didn't use yours when that TT crashed.
Uh-huh.
I bought brand new when I bought you one, so I can have it spare. So that way, brand new goes from your car.
Okay, cool.
Just keep on moving. All this tidy stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Behind everything.
So I can see on the ground.
All the spaghetti and everything. Come together.
Yeah.
So next step, put on alternator, AC compressor, and keep rocking with it.
Beast just sitting in the lab, ready to make some noise. 16 valve GTI turbo. Can't wait to get this joint at the track, man. And we got the other one ready over here, getting ready. AUDI TT. One hell of a mixture, even though it's dub, girl, I'm still with you. Damn, is it the fall? Time for me to revisit the past and women in call. What's up? Stage 3 in effect in the engine lab right now. About to get started, man. Got my beauty right here, stage 3 beauty right there. My brother stage 2. You know, got my piston rings, everything laid out for me. Oh man, of course my beautiful piston. Oh man, stage 3. Wow, that joint looks immaculate. Then I got my grinding wheel. Yes, sir. Stage 3 in effect. Let's get to work. All right, I got 3 done. 3 more to go. It's coming, it's coming. Slowly but surely, but it's coming. Let's keep knocking this out. Let's go. All right, finally completed. It was tedious. Finally completed all the piston rings. It's looking good. Getting to work hard. Let's go.
It is a nice, beautiful day out here. Not too hot, not too cold. But if you're constantly in the sun, you will start to bake a little bit. But I have some shade over me. So back out here working on the TT, making some progress. Started rolling without recording. I was in the zone. I had to take a step back, like, wait a minute, let me start recording some of this insight, this detail that I'm doing, so that we can keep up with the build in a progressive state. So I just installed the aluminum crossover tube, put a little silicone on it just for extra precautionary measures. Got rid of the plastic one. This was another spare plastic one, and another good reason for updating to the aluminum one. You can see just from the expansion, from the heat, that this was starting to bellow over a little bit. And on a few of these, some of these just broke off completely. Definitely on a lot of the other ones, I found ones that was just laying around where the other ends was just completely broken off. So it's just a good thing to go with the aluminum one. A lot better, a little more reliability, or a lot more reliability compared to the other one. Either way, I'm installing the hoses and just connecting everything pretty much identical to a VW Passat with a 3.6 or a Volkswagen CC, and just going in with everything. I replaced the expansion tank, bought a new one, have a new one I'm about to install. This is actually from off of my Audi TT. It had a leak, so my brother's been driving it since he's been here. That's why there's a vacant space up top. Only things up front is the S5. This, apparently a little bit of debris must have got caught up in here, and when I took the hose off, I saw that it was just like old debris from just, I guess, circulating through the system. It started to plug this hole up. It heated up so hot that it literally cracked the tip part right here of the expansion tank. So right up here. So he told me it was blowing coolant. Luckily, we replaced it in time, because I definitely don't want my TT to mess up or catch on fire or anything. This position here and coolant blowing on any type of exhaust pipes and potentially catching on fire. We have to get my TT built up, running good, running reliable with the 3.6 and the sequential shift transmission, as well as turbocharge. either way, we're going to keep on progressing with this. This is going in the trash. This will be the new one that gets installed on his car. And we're going to keep on moving forward. Just a safety note, make sure that you deburr any sharp edges. I usually try to make sure I deburr edges, but I got caught by one. I was wiping off some of the oxidation off the transmission bell housing, rubbed right along the sharp edge, and it sliced my finger open like a razor blade. It cut right through the glove and sliced open. So I am definitely going to deburr that. It sliced me open. Blood just started oozing out. So be careful. I'm going to deburr this so that it doesn't catch me or my brother or anyone else again. These edges are sticking up super sharp, so I took some photos so you guys can see right here where the bell housing meets the adapter plate. Man, this corner right here, straight up and down here is sharp. I'm surprised we didn't get caught before, but all I was doing was like wiping off some of the oxidation and went to go down and it sliced me right open. So it's extremely sharp. So I have my safety goggles on and we're going to deburr all of these sharp edges off. We're looking a lot better. Deburred all the sharp edges off here, so it's nice and smooth, so at least we don't have to worry about this anymore in the future. Going to keep on moving forward. Have the alternator bolted in position. Next we're going to bolt in the AC compressor and start just doing an overlook and an assessment on what else needs to be connected. I may prep to install the intake manifold, which would be good. I have to modify my top injectors. I already came up with a great idea how to modify the factory upper injectors. The lower ones clear perfectly fine. The top ones will come in contact with my secondary fill rail, and primary fill rail for some people that do conversion like this and they just delete the factory injectors. But we're going to still utilize our direct injectors. I have come up with an idea to modify, and stay tuned to see that. I just finished mounting my transmission support bracket. We can take a look at that. Let's crawl up under this monster. Okay, shine a little light up in there. There we go. So I installed my bracket. I used, actually, if I'm not mistaken, a factory Passat bracket, and I just notched out the holes a little bit. So as you can see, it fits perfect up in here. I just oblonged the holes so that it could fit perfectly with the DQ500 transmission, and that worked great. So next step, I may wait before I do this, and maybe wait until after startup, but we do have an 034 dog bone assembly for a DQ500. So naturally, we mistakenly, when we first ordered this, we ordered one for the DQ250. Of course, it would not bolt up, and we'll get an opportunity to see if this will work with our conversion. Not much documentation online, at least at the time we started the build, with utilizing a lot of these in our chassis of Audi TT. Not many. I don't know too many people that's, of course, a few people transplanted 3.6 liters in their TT, but to go to the extent with the build we've been doing, or we're doing right here, 3.6 turbocharged, custom manifold, DQ250 transmission, all of the work. So I don't know too many people that have taken it this far, but we're trying to push this TT chassis to a whole nother level to see how much horsepower we can get out of our stage one before we have to go to a solid block, or not necessarily a solid block. Well, yeah, a solid field block, cast block iron, cast block that's filled. I'm tongue twisted, but either way, another blooper. We're going to push it. We're going to try to see what we can get out of it before the head start lifting and blowing, cooling out. And if we can get to the 1400 wheel horsepower, 1500 wheel horsepower mark, I would be pretty satisfied with that out of a cast block without having to go to a fill. And if we can exceed that, I'll be even more happier. So the goal is to try to exceed at least 13 to 14, possibly 1500 wheel horsepower before this head raises up off the block. We'll see how far we can get with it. Either way, not much documentation on this. A lot of people are lifting VR6 heads at 1000 horsepower. So we possibly have our work cut out for us. Either way, we're going to continue with this build. So this may wait, and I'll continue with hooking up the intake manifold, other things like that, and maybe mess with this a little bit later. I did perform a test mock-up fit just to get an idea if this motor mount assembly will fit up inside our chassis before I got too far. I know I was basically saying I'm going to wait, and I am still going to wait until I perform a startup, and after I get the car running, go back in and install the dog bone. Reason for that is I don't want to spend too much time. I have to press out the original factory mount. So you definitely will have to upgrade with this type of conversion to the insert mounts as well. This is the insert mount. As you can see, the housing, and this is tapered around, and that fits right here, this taper. This fits the DQ transmission mount, and that is a necessity for our chassis. So I would have to go under, remove our original mount right here, and then install the dog bone, put in the new bushings. We also have our inserts also, just to stiffen it up and make everything a lot tighter fit, and to prevent and limit engine movement as much as possible. We don't want the engine rocking too much back and forth in the engine compartment. But I did kind of move this up into position. This will not go back as far because it stops, because this original mount back here doesn't have the provisions for this to slide all the way back. But I do have a baseline reference to it will fit up in position. Once I do that, this piece can pivot, and then I can just get everything bolted in position and then tighten it all up. But this is it's a nice fit. Nice fit. I like this. All right, we're going to continue with the intake manifold. Finally, I know I've said that like 2 or 3 times, or probably 3 or 4 times, but either way. And look at pull the intake manifold from out the back of the car, and now we're ready to make preparation for installing it. I'm gonna flip it over, put it on the belt sander just to make sure all the surfaces are nice and flat. Install the O-rings that go in the back part of the manifold. And the manifold has provisions for O-rings, which is good, which will aid in sealing each individual port nice and proper. But we'll put this on the belt sander just to make sure everything's nice and flat, and then install our O-rings and mount it to the cylinder head. Go ahead and start prepping, install our gaskets and O-rings and any other part of the manifold, and continue to move forward. I am using a later model fill rail instead of the original factory ones. One thing that I had discovered, I have quite a few 3.6 liter engines, and the original fill rail we were using from off of an older Passat is a lot smaller. The hoses are smaller. The fill rail itself is the same diameter, but some of the feed lines were smaller. So we want to make sure we're getting as much fill to these direct injectors as possible. A few little other things I'm going to experiment with this setup just to see how much extra fueling we can get out of the direct injectors. I installed grade 12.9 bolts pretty much all around the perimeter of this intake manifold, but of course these bolts rust easy. Eventually I will see if I can get a galvanized compound or something to soak the bolts in, just to kind of deter a lot of this rust. Had the engine been going through heat cycles and running, it would not have rusted just from sitting so bad, because any type of moisture would have pretty much heated up and dried off. So I may go with stainless steel bolts. We'll see. It's still up in the air. At least it will not be rusting or nothing like that. So my surfaces have been sanded down and machined nice and flat. I also pushed all my O-rings in, and the O-rings has a nice tight press fit in each one, and it sticks up pretty good, so we got a nice sealing lip. We're going to go ahead and bolt this down in position. I have my gasket. I'm going to install that. I'm going to put a little bit more silicone around, or some silicone around the gasket itself. You already got the intake bolted on? You already got the intake bolted on there? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Get done. I'm about to wrap it up for tonight. Made some fairly good progress today. We cannot fully bolt on the intake manifold due to the fact that I need some longer studs. So as you can see over here, my studs are a little short. Before my stud is flush with my fill rail, my fill rail of course isn't bottom out. You can see that this spacer is still loose, it's dangling. So before I'm flush, it's like 9mm, and then I'll need possibly another 10mm to start a nut on here. And once that's threaded in, it'll compress the fill rail on top of the O-rings for the injectors. So I need a stud or studs, possibly I'll say an extra 20mm longer than what I have. And then I can go ahead and bolt in my intake manifold and then continue with the spacer, the throttle body, the drive-by-wire throttle body, going down to my plumbing and stuff like that for my intercooler piping. Yeah, so I'll have to order some of those and just look over some miscellaneous stuff. 2 more things I wrote down on my to-do list to order, but I'll try to get those in soon as possible so that my next day off that I pick back up on this, which will be next weekend or this coming weekend, I can possibly start with the wiring if things are looking good. We have back behind the engine my bracket installed for the DQ500. It's coming together. So we're going to continue moving forward. It is very late. I forgot to set my garage clock. It's been months since I set it. And of course, daylight savings time has passed. So my clock was an hour behind. Not paying attention, just listening to music and grinding. I realized I'm an hour later than I wanted to be. So cleaned up most of my tools. For the most part, this is looking good. So can't wait to pick back up on it. I'm really anxious to really start with the wiring